YouTube and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm just going to do, it's actually going to be a three-part video. It's basically one roast, three different dinners. Now I'm using a Boston butt roast. I'd never actually heard of it called that until I moved to the South. It is actually just a shoulder roast for anyone else out there who might not know what a Boston butt roast is. And I've also heard it called just a butt roast. It's actually just a shoulder roast, nothing special. However, this is a particularly inexpensive cut of meat. It's not exactly the healthiest, however, it feeds many. In fact, my husband and I, we usually eat 3 dinners, and I'm going to show you the 3 dinners I make with one roast. And I always have leftovers of the last dinner, which I end up freezing, and we eat one more dinner after that. So I'm fairly certain that it could feed a family of 4 if you have, 2 littles for 3 meals, or maybe 2 meals if you have, teenage boys or something like that, or feeding more than 4 or kind of a crowd. This would be a great thing to bring to like a potluck, especially the last meal in which I'm going to be making, because it really does feed many. It's really not expensive. I find my Boston butts or shoulder roasts usually on sale. This one I'm making today, it was $1.59 a pound, and it's 9 1/4 pounds, so it ended up being roughly $14.69. I still have the packaging in the sink. So in my opinion, 3 dinners for us plus either leftovers or whatnot, that's at least 4 meals for us for less than $15 a pound. My general rule of thumb, when you can get meat for less than $2 a pound, pick it up and stick it in the freezer. Even if you're not going to use it this week, that is a very nice price point to get your protein or your meat if you're a meat eater. Now, like I said, I'm using the Boston butt or shoulder roast, and I'm literally just going to put it in my crock pot as best I can. It's not going to want to fit in there, but I'm going to make it. Wash my hands. Okay. What I normally do is just kind of slice that fat layer on the top, just to kind of help the seasonings penetrate. And I always put the fat side up, so that way as it cooks, that fat will kind of render in the meat all day long, making the meat nice and tender. I would go ahead and liberally salt it, because that is quite a bit of meat, and you don't want it bland. I'm gonna go ahead and add some pepper. Salt and pepper to taste. And honestly, guys, this cut of meat, you can use whatever seasonings you want. If you're going to use the whole thing as maybe a barbecue, I'd gear more towards barbecue seasonings. If you're going to use it just as a roast, maybe more traditional seasonings. You could. One of the meals I'm going to be making is going to be more of a Mexican meal. You can go ahead and add taco seasonings or cumin or chili or whatever it is that you're using your shoulder roast for. Go ahead and use it. I'm going to kind of just be doing what I like, because the first meal we're actually just going to eat some of the roast. I have 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. I feel as though pork and brown sugar kind of go together. You can't overdo it, I feel, so don't do too much. I also have a tablespoon of onion powder, a tablespoon of seasoning salt, and I like basil on mine. If you don't care for basil and it's kind of a more untraditional, go ahead and leave that out. And I also have a tablespoon of garlic powder. So I'm just gonna sprinkle that on, and then I'm gonna give it a good rub so all those flavorings kind of mix in together, kind of pack it down, and then I'm just gonna cover it and forget about it. Set it on low. Whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to hit ya. Set it on low for 8 hours, and I will bring you back when it's time to take this out of the crock pot. Okay guys, I'm back. My roast has been in the crock pot for slightly over 8 hours. That's kind of one of the nice things about a crock pot. You can turn it down and keep warm. It was on low, and I turned it to keep warm. My husband called and he was just a little late, so I figured I'd just turn it off and just keep it warm. But as you can see, my roast is completely done. It is so tender. I'm trying to show you. You can literally just start peeling pieces off, and what I'm gonna do is just serve it up just like this. It's incredibly tender and flavorful, and I might, I think I'm gonna make some green beans, some stuffing, and some rolls with this. And I'm telling you, it's just like a roast. It's a little fattier, but I think it's a little bit more flavorful too. So that's what we're having the first night. I will bring you back tomorrow and tell you or show you how I make a leftover makeover meal with the leftover parts of the roast. Okay, day number 2. This is all of the extra meat that I had left over from my roast. I'm actually going to be making 2 more dinners with it. I just last night after we ate, I let the roast come down to room temperature, so that way it wasn't so hot to handle, and you shouldn't probably put hot food in the refrigerator anyway. So let it cool off a bit. I shredded it as best I could, and then I just stuck some tin foil on it and I put it right in the refrigerator. Now I'm gonna turn my burner on to a medium-high heat, somewhere around there, and I'm just gonna start putting some of my meat into my frying pan. And if I want to get it a smaller chop, I can. I've got some kitchen shears here. I might just give it a rough chop. Basically, there's kind of no recipe here. It's however many people you have to feed tonight. We're going to be making, I don't even know what they're called. It's kind of like a chimichanga-esque type dinner, but we've got our pork roast kind of all shredded up. That looks to be about good for my husband and I for supper. I'm going to move this aside here right now. I'm going to add about a half a cup. Now I have beef broth here, but you can certainly use whatever kind of broth you want, just to kind of help keep that moisture in as it warms up. And once it warms through, like I said, you can use your kitchen shears or whatever if you want it to shred it a little smaller. I was in a hurry last night. All right, looks good. I'm not gonna worry about it. This is kind of one of those dump and go dinners. Now I do have a big jar of the taco seasonings, and this is kind of more towards your taste. I'm just gonna add like a teaspoon at a time. Taste it maybe I'll add 2 teaspoons, there we go. Taste it, see if I'm happy with it. Just kind of, all we're doing is warming up our pork. And once our pork is warmed through, I'm gonna show you how to assemble and finish these up. I should add while my pork is reheating that I have just cooked off some basic white rice, nothing special about it. I'm also going to add a couple of teaspoons of some fresh cilantro. I love cilantro. I could probably eat this stuff plain. I love the way it smells. And then I'm just going to also add a little bit of lime juice, kind of to taste here. I've already salted my rice when I was cooking it, but if you find that you need more salt, go ahead and add that now. Just kind of fluff it through so everything kind of gets flavored. I almost wish I had more cilantro. Oh well, we'll work with what we've got here. I need to start growing my own herbs. Next summer, I think that's my project. All right, I'm gonna okay, my pork is actually starting to warm up already, which is good. Trying to get all that cilantro off there. Just get a new, there we go. This is already cooked. We're simply just reheating it. I think this tastes better than doing it in the microwave, but that's personal preference. I find that reheated meat in the microwave has a funny taste to me. I don't know what it is. I'm just not a fan. So this might take a few extra minutes, but in my opinion, it's worth it. I think I'm gonna go ahead and add 1 more teaspoon of my taco seasonings. I can just tell by the smell that it's not enough. I like it to smell really spicy. All right, once that's heated through, I'm gonna bring you back for the next step on how to assemble these. Okay guys, I'm back. I've simply just gotten a burrito sized tortilla. Now I do have in my large skillet about a 1/4 of an inch of vegetable oil just starting to heat up. I'm going to assemble my chimichangas, burritos. I don't know what you call these. I just kind of put a couple recipes together and called it a day. Sometimes you gotta get creative when you're making leftovers, but I've got my rice down. I put some of my pork down and then a little bit of cheese down. And the trick to these is not to get them over full. And then you're just gonna wanna fold them just like you would any other taco or burrito. Make sure the seams are in real good, nice and tight. All right, I can already hear my grease, or it's not grease, it's vegetable oil. But you're gonna wanna place these seam side, and by that I mean this right here, seam side down. And if you have trouble getting them closed, a toothpick will work just fine. I'm only gonna cook one here on camera. It's not time for my husband to come home from work, but I'm fighting the light here. It's starting to get dark now, earlier. Of course, that seam doesn't want to lay flat, so we'll just force it. Okay. And once your oil is hot, it's only going to take a minute or two aside. Like I said, everything is cooked in there. We're literally just kind of frying up and getting a crispy edge on that tortilla, melting the cheese. We're just kind of looking for a nice golden brown color. And once that bottom is kind of cooked, it'll kind of keep that seal closed so we can flip it, and we shouldn't lose any of our filling in there. I think these are delicious. And honestly, not a whole lot of work. Once your roast is cooked, you're just about done. I'm gonna bring you back so that way we save time in this video, because I have a feeling it's gonna get long, and show you the finished product. Okay guys, as you can see, I'm nice and golden brown here on the top. I'm gonna remove it completely from the heat. Now if I had paper towels, I would go ahead and just kind of let these sit on a paper towel to just kind of drain that little bit of excess oil. But I've tried to get it nice and golden brown on each side, and see that seam stayed nice and closed. It's quite crispy. All right, and I feel like I'm just gonna dress it with a little bit of cheese on top. Maybe a little bit of, we like this taco sauce. It is delicious. Let's see if I can find a spoon. All right. Just kind of drizzle it a little bit here and there, a little extra flavor. And then maybe a little bit of sour cream. Of course, you can always serve this with beans and maybe some more rice on the side. We'll probably have extra rice, so we'll just eat it on the side. Chips and salsa, even a salad on top, pico de gallo, guacamole. anything works here. But that is it. That is meal number 2 with 1 roast, that pork shoulder roast. I will come back tomorrow and show you how I finish off the rest of that. Alright guys, it is day number 3 of my 1 roast, 3 frugal meals series, which is, I think is what I'm going to call this. This is all of the leftover pork that I have. I'm going to just dump that right into my crock pot. And we are going to make just some pulled pork for pulled pork sandwiches tonight for supper. And this is obviously way more than is going to feed just my husband and I. However, the rest I'm going to put into Ziploc bags and freeze, so that way one night later this month or next month, I don't have to cook. We can just grab some buns, maybe some coleslaw, or maybe just some make some cornbread, and I have dinner. I'm going to add 1 cup of broth to this just to help so it doesn't dry it out, because it's already cooked. We're essentially just warming this up. I've also got my favorite barbecue sauce, and I've got more in the pantry. This is kind of a half a bottle I had left over in the refrigerator, and I like to use up what's already open first, and that way we don't waste anything. I hate wasting food. I don't know about you guys. It's literally just money that you work hard for that you throw in the trash. Nobody likes that. And I'm just gonna put the lid on it and put it on low. I've got about 3 hours till dinner time, which should warm everything through and kind of get that barbecue sauce nice and flavored with the pork. I'll stir it every so often just so it all that sauce kind of gets to all the pieces of meat. And then I will bring you back when this is completely warmed through and show you how I dress my pulled pork sandwiches. Alright guys, I'm back. My pulled pork has been warming up in the crock pot for about 3 hours on low. The flavors have all kind of married into each other, and as you can see, even though I added that broth, it's not soupy at all. There's sauce on it for flavor, but it's not soupy. All I do at this point is just kind of grab a bun. I load up my bun with my pulled pork, my barbecued pulled pork. We love this meal around here. The sloppier the better. We like it with some coleslaw on top, and I've just taken and went and got some from the grocery store instead of making my own, but you can certainly make your own. It would be even better. And that is how I dress my barbecued pulled pork leftover shoulder roast sandwich. That is 1 roast. I spent just over $14 on it. I got 3 meals, plus, because it is just my husband and I, well, I'll probably eat 1 sandwich, he'll eat 2, and then we will have the rest as leftovers. Now, I've always been told after you cook something, you can reheat things twice, so this is the first time I've reheated it. I will probably put it in smaller Ziploc bags for kind of individual servings so we don't waste, and I will put the rest in the freezer. So for our family of 2, we have gotten at least 4 meals out of this, but I'm telling you, I will probably get 4 to 5, and if you have small children, I'm guessing you will get at least 2 to 3 meals, or even if you're trying to find something to feed a crowd, this, if you just make the barbecued pulled pork, this will feed a crowd for $14 with your, then you get some buns, and maybe make your own coleslaw. Under 20 bucks, you can feed a crowd. A pretty tasty, delicious dinner too. 20 to 25, I'd say, with the barbecue sauce and all that stuff with it. If you guys liked today's video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you like what I do here, please consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end here, and I will see you in the next one.